So you know that saying they have that's you're most like the 5 people you hang out with the most? I was actually having a conversation today, and it came up. Wisdom comes from the ether, I guess. I was talking about just cutting your losses and knowing when to. It's decently along the lines of one of the previous Laws of Power episodes I did, and I'm just gonna point up here, link it. But it's like the opposite, because that one was talking about knowing to stop in victory, and this one is know when to cut your losses and get the heck out of Dodge. Besides sunken cost fallacy and being in situations like that, I brought up the 5 people that you hang out with the most is what you're most like, for a reason, because it's a lot of times it's people. Sometimes you got to learn how to cut people out of your life, and that's the worst part. It's the hardest part. It's not easy. But at the end of the day, ultimately, that saying is true. And also, their energy will affect you. Like, I've been in situations where, I mean, when I'm by myself, yeah, sometimes it's lonely, but I have no one else affecting me. And I have those mentors that I could watch on YouTube or talk to online in just positive spaces and stay in those positive spaces, and my life gets way better. It's a compounding effect. It just keeps on going. And I've been even like 2 years ago, year and a half ago, I was in a really good spot, a great spot, and then had a change in my life. That change was good, and it allowed me to grow more, but it put me around people who were very negative, and there was constantly problems, and like, I'm not trying to go like all woo-woo, but the energy was horrible, and you could feel it. And then just like their mindset and their mentality and the things they would say, and that's something like, I mean, you have to watch out about people, just in general. Just try not to be around negative people. And I could go into what up, Birdie? I'm actually going to go into a video like that soon. Now that I think about it, about mindset. But watch out for those negative people, because you don't think it'll have an effect on you, but it does. It's almost like if you've been in a situation like that for such a long time, right? It's almost like if you were a chronic abuser of alcohol, like your base, or even just like weed, your base level is here, right? And you feel fine, but then like, yeah, I mean, you still get hungover, and even with weed, you still get like that weed hangover and stuff like that. But if you quit for like a month, 2 months, and then like you go back and you smoke a whole J to your face, or you drink like you would normally do on another night, and you wake up, you're like, yo, my Lanta, I feel like such crap. Like, this is how I felt back then. And it wasn't, but it's because your baseline was so low that your perspective was different. Your perspective was way different. So now that you're outside of it, and then you get back down there, you're like, oh, I don't want to be there again, dude. I don't want to be there again at all. But it's the same thing with being like a bad situation around a lot of negative people. It's like you almost think that that's like the norm. It's almost like an abusive situations. And sometimes it probably is an abusive situation. But once you get out of that, I mean, a lot of people need therapy. A lot of people are scarred from certain situations like that, especially if they're abusive. But you get out of that situation, you realize, you're like, wait, not everyone is like this. Not every situation is everyone's being negative, and there's just all drama and bickering and stuff like that. And you're like, wow, this is great to not be in this. But then, like, especially if you've been in a lot, you realize you don't want to go back to that, ever. So you're quick to cut people off. And I mean, sometimes you just have to learn the lesson. You didn't learn the lesson, so it's like the life will take you back around for the second lap. And you got to deal with that stuff sometimes, and that happens. But then, I mean, you do it a couple times, and you're like, oh yeah, no, I see the pattern here. And I've been in and out of the pattern, and it's gotten to the point where I can look at myself and say, oh, yeah, this is the pattern. You have to get out of it. You have to stop getting yourself into these situations. Stop being with people that have this low, bad energy, because they will bring you down. And it's sort of like a rant tangent at this point, but stay away from people like that. Or just people that you feel, at least, bring you down. And I mean, you still have to be able to look at yourself objectively and say, am I the problem, or are they the problem? Because I've thought that too, to be honest with you, at some points. Like, I've had so much of these issues in my life happening, I literally stopped and sat down, and honestly, really recently, I was like, is everyone else really the problem, or is it me? And it could be both. Because, like, they could be issues, but you're also the problem because you're the one that's allowing yourself to get into these problems and these situations in the first place, you know what I mean? What up, gang? I don't know what that is. He's probably bad I'm here. He, she, whatever. But, yeah, just sit down with yourself. Think about it. Realize what needs to change, and just, stay away from, like, anyone that has bad energy. And you don't have to be all love, light, and all that good jazz, you know what I mean? And, like, if I ever do go into, like, manifesting and all that stuff, like, I want to talk about that as an issue, because that's, like, keeps a lot of people back spiritually on their spiritual journey, because it's not like, oh, I just don't think about bad things and they don't happen. It's like, no, dude, no. Joy wouldn't be so special if it weren't for pain. There's the light and the dark. And you have to understand both. You have to have lived in both. You walk that fine line between the two. You have to be able to do both of them. Because there's, like, toxic positivity. Another rant for another day, to be honest with you. But I think that's about it for me for today. If I did miss something, I'll do a part 2 on it, or an addendum, or something. Who knows? I don't. At least not right now. It's beautiful out here. It is getting dark, though. And I got, like, a 10-minute hike back to the car. And it's a little chilly. If you don't know me, my name is Brendan. This is The Lost Tribe. If you like this content, hit that like button, leave a comment down below what you think about this video. If you have anything to say about anything that I talked about, and if you made it this far, hit that subscribe button, because clearly you like the content. Probably going to leave that blooper in there. Once again, Brendan, Lost Tribe. Peace out, Cub Scout. See you later. Keep your head up.